That promoted Alexander Sims to 5th after starting 18th on the grid, one of the drives of the weekend. But it was a Mexico City masterclass from Mitch Evans. The Kiwi led from the first lap to take a momentous win for Panasonic Jaguar Racing.
One of the most dominant races in the history of the championship.
Yes, guys.
This is how his man made superb drive.
That impressive drive puts Evans at the top of the championship table ahead of Alexander Sims. Former championship leader Van Dorn, a big loser after Mexico, he drops to 4th, behind Antonio Felix da Costa.
Now, it was a dominant performance from Mitch Evans. However, you guys had quite a debate as to whether it was as dominant as it looked. First of all, Mr. Dario Franchitti.
The debate is still going on. I absolutely think it was a dominant performance. We haven't seen that kind of dominance from anybody in Formula E in a long time.
He had a 4-second lead.
He had a 7 at one point. He was driving off, and you know, Jack saying, oh, well, everybody else had problems. You can only beat the competition on the day. He put so much pressure on the competition that they all folded like a cheap suit.
All right, here he is, Mr. Doom and Gloom. Jack, why wasn't it a dominant performance?
It's not doom and gloom, it was a good performance, okay. But I think at the time I said it was one of the most dominant performances in the history of Formula E or some other hyperbolic nonsense. But when you look back at it, Stoffel Van Dorn crashed out of the race when he was closing in. Sam Bird was running second. He crashed out of the race. The DS to Cheetahs had, and I know you can only beat what's in front of you, but
well, there was nothing in front of him because
sorry,
the guys behind him were all trying to catch him. That's the point. He put so much pressure on them that they all crashed trying to catch him.
It's going well, this debate, Jack.
What I will say
okay,
is he has topped group qualifying in the last 2 races. One of them was on pole position, one of them on the second row of the grid. In second spot on the front row of the grid. So his qualifying is absolutely on it. And if you start at the front, then you've always got a big chance of... Then, if you start at the front, when everybody, like exactly my argument, has troubles and crashes and argues and falls apart, you're in the right place to take advantage of it. Whereas if he was 5th or 6th on the grid, he'd be one of those in the trouble.
The Jaguar team seemed to have found something special, Dario.
They've got a confidence about them. Certainly, you know, from Mitch Evans' side of things, they're qualifying well, they're racing very well. He was very vocal after Santiago, wasn't he? Not happy. Not happy. They've got a lot of work to do. Well, they've done that work, and now they look like the team to beat.
Jack, quickly, what we must mention is Sam Bird and Stoffel Van Dorn going off at the same place in Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. It was very tricky for them at that corner, that left-hander, and that's where they both ended up in the wall. And it ruined both of their races, and both of them, if they hadn't had that crash, would be leading the championship now. But they both did crash, and that's the issue, and that's where the margin for error is so important.
Is that on the driver? Because, like Jack said, both those drivers could have been on top of the championship as it stands if they hadn't crashed out.
The driver ultimately has to take responsibility. There's some issue with track breakup and stuff like that, but the driver ultimately has to take responsibility, unfortunately, and they won't make that mistake again.
All right, let's go over to Nicky, who's with last year's winner here in Marrakesh, Jerome D'Ambrosio.
Last year was an amazing feeling. I was this morning when we were doing the track walk, I was just remembering how a relief it was to cross that line in the last lap. It was intense, loads of emotions. But that was a year ago, and now we're here, and so focusing on what we can do this weekend, and going to go for a podium and try to get another great result for the team.
Yeah, Mahindra have always enjoyed a lot of success here in Marrakesh, but it's been a tough season for you guys so far. You know, you're down in P18, the team are down in P10. How hard is it going to be to try and replicate such a great result?
Well, I think, you know, it's probably so far we're starting this weekend with the best chances that we've had this season. I mean, in Riyadh we had good qualifying, so my car failed on the grid in the second race. Santiago, we had the gearbox issue with me on both qualifying and the race, and last race we had performance, but we had to take that penalty. So Marrakesh seems really like the first week and like the real beginning of the season for us, and so definitely looking forward to maximize what we can do here.
And how's the team settling in? Because you had a lot of personnel changes. You know, we're now into about a third of the way through the season. Do you feel like everyone's settled down?
Yeah, definitely. Takes a little time to people to get to know each other. We still had some late adds to the team in recent weeks or recent months. But now it's getting to the point where we know to work with each other. We still, I mean, it's a work in progress. You always learn, but yeah, I mean, the team is settling down, and this is why we all feel like this weekend could be really the first one where we can maximize everything.
Before we go over to our race commentators for qualifying, let's take a look at how our drivers place themselves on the grid with our very unique qualifying format.
ABB FIA Formula E qualifying takes place on race day prior to the main E-Prix. The cars split into 4 groups of 6 drivers based on reverse championship order. In this group qualifying session, each driver gets just 1 flying lap to set a time. They're given the full power allocation of 250 kilowatts, but with the race happening shortly after, there's very little time for the team to repair a damaged car. So margins are fine and mistakes often costly. Drivers have to find the line between going as quick as possible, but not risking a crash and potentially missing out on the race. At the end of the session, the fastest 6 drivers proceed to the Super Pole shootout, with the fastest gaining a championship point. The top 6 drivers will go out one by one for another flying lap. The fastest driver is awarded pole position and 3 potentially crucial championship points.
Now, one of the key parts of this qualifying format is that the drivers who are out in that first group tend to have a worse time of it. But Dario, here it seems that might not be the case.
Well, we've seen in the past that last season, for instance, 3 of the Group 1 ended up in Super Pole, which is quite unusual. Today, it's been a bit windy. There might be blowing sand onto the track, so Group 1 might be a bit of a disadvantage again. But if you look at the speeds from practice, the championship leaders were up the front. Yeah, I mean, you've only got 1 lap to do it, and it's very easy to make that mistake and overdo it or slightly underdrive. It's a very tight rope that they're walking.
So the top 6 in the championship will be out in the first group. Sam Bird, Stoffel van Dorn, Lucas de Grassi, Da Costa, Mitch Evans and Alexander Sims. And that's going to be that, because it's not even necessarily the lap time you do, it's where you are in that pecking order, because the top 6 go through to Super Pole. So you can be half a tenth behind someone, but if you're not in front of them, then that's absolutely key. Group 2, I think, is going to be a strong one. I think you've got to be looking at Jean-Eric Verne, haven't you?
Yeah, Jean-Eric Verne missed free practice 1 yesterday. Unusually we had it yesterday rather than this morning, and he missed that. So he's definitely up against it. He missed 60% of the practice time of the others. He said this morning, tried a full power run, and he said the brakes were not there, and that's his kind of go-to. When he's not happy, he really seems to struggle on the brakes.
These are Group 3 and Group 4, and again we've got some big hitters in there as well. You look at Robin Freitz and Sebastian Buemi and Jerome D'Ambrosio, winner of the race here last year. Pascal Wehrlein's been on the front row in the past, and then qualifying Group 4 for those drivers down at the bottom. Not expecting a huge amount from any of those, but this is the track that they are going to be facing this morning.
The Moulay El Hassan circuit is a 2.97 kilometre, 12-turn track on the outskirts of Marrakesh. Turn 1 has a long bumpy entry, so it's easy to make a mistake and very difficult to be consistent. The attack mode activation zone is on the outside of turn 3, so watch out for cars on different lines converging on exit. Drivers want to cut the curbs as much as possible in the chicane of turn 4 and 5. There are 3 long straights on this circuit where the 35 kilowatt attack mode power boost will really come into play. The last one of those is in the final sector with a long run into turn 11. Then it's a tricky right-hander at turn 12, followed by the charge to the finish line and the end of the lap. An energy-hungry track, the drivers will not only have to be quick, but save energy while doing it.
We are just about set for qualifying ahead of the 2020 Marrakesh E-Prix. The ABB FIA Formula E Championship takes in its 5th round in this North African city. And there you can see the pit lane ready to go. The cars will be heading out in just, well, a minute or so's time. The session will start. The cars will head out a further 3 minutes or so after that. It's an overcast, cloudy day, and these are the top 6 in the championship. In championship order, it's Mitch Evans, Alexander Sims, Antonio Felix da Costa, Stoffel van Dorn, Lucas de Grassi, and Sam Bird. And it's the kind of thing, Dario Franchitti, where if you're Sam Bird, you're 6th. You're ahead of Oliver Rowland, only on best finishing position. You're tied on points with a guy who's in Group 2. You wish you were in Group 2, don't you, at this moment?
You do, but you really can't think that way. You've just got to be thinking about, I've got to do the best I possibly can. And this is one of those situations. I do think I want to be the last guy out today. Normally I'll say to you, oh, why are they doing that? You know, that doesn't make that much difference. But again, it's been windy this morning between free practice 2 and now this qualifying group 1. And I think there'll be a sort of a film of sand on the circuit, which will make it very difficult for those the first person to cross the line. And we'll see some track evolution, car to car in group 1, not necessarily group to group.
Hashtag Marrakesh E-Prix if you want to get in touch. And that, yeah, I'm really, really interested to see how this qualifying session is going to unfold, because I feel like when you come to a permanent circuit like this, or it's still a street circuit, the walls are still there, but it's just a little cleaner than some of the ones we go to. And everybody's been here before.
And they've tested here with the rookie tests.
And they've tested here as well.
Yes.
So there's a lot less getting up to speed. So as a result, all the drivers, there's a much narrower window in which to perform.
Yeah, I think that's very fair, Jack. And I think because of that, again, you've got to operate inside that window and not try and sort of shoot for the stars and overdo it. You know, the engineer was saying, oh, you're losing time in sector 2. You've got to brake a bit deeper into 7. You go up to turn 7, you hit one of the bumps, you brake a bit deeper, you go down the escape road, and that's your qualifying. You know, it's gone. And the point now, you get a point for being fastest in group qualifying. I think that might actually play into the championship. I think the championship is going to be so close across this whole season 6 that those points for being fastest in group qualifying are going to be important. And Mitch Evans has got 2 of them already.
Exactly. Already, Evans would be behind Alexander Sims were it not for those 2 championship points. That is Alexander Sims there, the Englishman for BMW I Andretti, the 31-year-old, 18th to 5th at the last race in Mexico. And he had 3 poles in a row, end of last season, start of this season. But then as soon as he got into Group 1, i.e. the top 6 in the championship, he's had a 15th and an 18th. He's 11 points away, Alexander Sims, from his entire Season 5 tally.
You know, they had the mechanical in, I think it was self-inflicted mechanical in Santiago, but he's a really good season otherwise. You see the man who's having a great season so far, Mitch Evans, and I think they're all chasing him, including Lucas de Grassi we see on screen. Just head down, visor closed, visualizing the lap, and Sims is first to go.
15 seconds.
Marcus Mickelberger on the radio there for Lucas de Grassi. Stoffel van Dorn is heading out as well, and here comes Lucas joining the fray. A very quiet start to the season for de Grassi. He's 5th in the championship. He was 13th in the first race in Diriyah, then 2nd in the second, and then a 7th and a 6th. He's been largely anonymous to still be in the top 6 of the championship. When you think of Mitch Evans, poles, wins. Yep. Sims, poles, wins. Da Costa, 2 podiums in a row. Van Dorn, podium on his debut with Mercedes. Sam Bird wins the first race. Lucas de Grassi, he's just been fine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
His drive in Mexico was typical Lucas de Grassi. Just through the field, slowly, and the next thing you know, he's finished 6th. Da Costa looks like he's waiting. He's going to do that thing that we've seen Da Costa do so many times before. We'll not do a preparation lap. We'll go out, do a warm-up lap, and go straight to full power and do his qualifying run.
And I think the same is true of Mitch Evans in the Jaguar. So the way it works is you can go out, do your out lap, then a warm-up lap, then a full power qualifying lap. Those 2 drivers, Da Costa and Evans, have opted to go out, do their out lap, and then just turn it up, full power, away we go.
And because it takes the time that it takes to get around the track, everybody goes out at the last possible moment, and you see they all get in each other's way.
They're not a million miles away. They'll be fine. But it's not easy peasy, actually, because it's about 1 minute 20 you'll want for your warm-up lap. So as a result, Bird is getting a little bit queued. There comes Evans. Where's he going to come out with regards to everyone else? Da Costa is coming out as well. And they're all going to make it across the line in time.
Interesting, Van Dorn at the head of the queue in the silver Mercedes-Benz EQ crashed out as championship leader in Mexico City. Had not a great morning for him. I mean, he was 20th quickest, complained of understeer. The front of the car was sliding. Now he's just been under investigation for pit lane overspeed. It's almost like they need to regroup a little bit. Calm Stoffel down, calm the team down, and just start doing what they had done previously and get back to scoring points.
Sigma Rizky has said hi using the hashtag Marrakesh E-Prix, saying it's first ever time they've watched an E-Prix qualifying session, so welcome.
Here we go. You're about to see the top 6 in the championship go full power around this Marrakesh circuit, the circuit Moulay Al Hassan, about a mile or so from the Medina and downtown Marrakesh. We're in the Agdal district here. And here comes Sims. He's turned it up. You can see the purple flashing lights, magenta flashing lights, I should say, on the front of the car. That means he's at full power, and he's going to go for a qualifying lap, looking for his 4th career Formula E pole position.
And full power is 250 kilowatts of power. Normal race power is 200.
Here comes Sims into turn 1.
Neat tidy. It's a very bumpy entry into turn 1. You can see the black lines as he goes back to the throttle, and the torque of the electric motor breaks the tyres loose. And this is an area of the track into turn 3. You can lose time the whole way, and it's such a long entry to the corner. Sims makes a good job of it. He's coming up to the first split in a second.
Evans has missed it. Evans has taken the checkered flag. I think Mitch Evans is too late to start the qualifying lap. That's an absolute disaster for Jaguar. They have absolutely messed this up massively. The championship leader will start at the back of the grid. According to our timing screens, he has taken the checkered flag and his lap is not being timed. Absolutely disastrous.
No other word for it.
And look, I think this is James Barclay's realization. Oh, that's the moment. Right, let's focus on the other 5 while we're here and dissect that later on. Alexander Sims through the first sector. It's Antonio Felix da Costa who's done the fastest first sector by a long way.
By 3/10, Jack. Sims comes to the end of the lap.
Checkered flag falls. Alexander Sims does a 1 minute 17.830. Next up is going to be Stoffel van Dorn. Da Costa is flying here. Quickest of anyone in the middle sector as well. He could be about to book himself a place in Superpole. Van Dorn is 4/10 slower than Sims. Lucas de Grassi out of the final corner. He goes second, a 10th slower than Sims. Berg goes third, slower than de Grassi and Sims. And then Da Costa goes to the top. 2/10 clear of his rivals. And Mitch Evans takes the checkered flag twice, has no lap time on the board, and the championship leader will start the Marrakesh E-Prix from the back of the grid.
We didn't get a lap on the timing. Crossed at 0-0. It hasn't registered.
Ouch. Ouch. You just don't outsmart yourself.
That's Josep Roca.
And Mitch Evans was quickest in free practice 2.
That's Mitch Evans, his race engineer. And it's very much heads in hands at Jaguar.
And Mitch Evans is now under investigation for crossing the checkered flag twice. So they should have told him halfway through the lap. Wow. I think Mitch Evans will be introducing the Jaguar boys to some New Zealand choice words on the radio.
Phil Charles there. A very experienced race engineer. Formula One in the past. We were saying this is the kind of session where there's not a huge gap between groups 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 to take advantage. This could be a race that really impacts the championship. And Antonio Felix da Costa, I struggled to see that lap time, maybe even being beaten, to be honest, because I think he's got a real shot at Superpole there.
I agree with you. I think that was a terrific lap. He lost maybe a 10 through sector 3. That was it compared to otherwise fastest in sector 1, fastest in sector 2, and Mitch Evans will just be gutted. Look at him shaking his head.
Jaguar saying that he crossed the line at zeros, you know, the exact 0 time, which obviously is too late, but you know, that's how close it was.
Yeah, anyway, it's easy. Again, it's easy to say from here. These guys are trying to maximize every single thing. Every team in pit lane trying to maximize every single thing they can to get the performance.
So the debrief, the post-mortem of that qualifying session will be pretty extreme for Jaguar Racing. Craig Wilson there as well on the left-hand side. Well, the 5 drivers that did a lap: Antonio Felix da Costa quickest, Sims second, de Grassi third, Bird and Van Dorn. Well, qualifying group 2 coming up, but I think now we've got to go down and hear from James Barclay. Nikki.
Yeah, here with the team boss at Jaguar. James, obviously we've seen what's happened. How does something like this actually happen, that he didn't get out soon enough?
Yeah, it's always tight. You know, we see this time and time again where you're obviously trying to optimise, particularly in Group 1, the best of the track conditions. Honestly, we need to look at the data. Mitch was okay coming to the final sector, so that was kind of why we actually thought we were fine. So we tracked the lap all the way through the sectors. Coming to the final sector, we look good on time. So that last sector, for some reason, we've lost the time, and that just looks like it's cost us. So yeah, honestly, a massive shame given the performance of the car and how well Mitch is going. So we need to analyse it and see what's caused it. Like I said, we actually thought we were in the margin, so that's obviously caught us out in the last sector.
But his time isn't going to count at all because he didn't get out quick enough, early enough.
Yeah, the timing screens currently aren't showing the time, correct.
Okay. I mean, it's always, there's so much going on days like this. There's so much for you to factor in. I mean, is there any reason for this?
Well, like I said, it's actually something you have a strategy for, right? So you're monitoring that all the way through the lap, and you talk to the driver about the gap. So for what we could see, he was actually fine coming into the last sector. So that's not something normally you kind of prepared for this instance, but something's caught us out in the final sector. We need to analyse what that is. Did we drop our pace too much? Clearly, we didn't get to the line in time, so that's what we need to look at.
Okay. Thanks very much, James Buckley.
Well, so this was Evans leaving the... Thank you very much, Nicky Shields. That was Evans leaving the pits, and he's miles behind Acosta, and there it is.
Ugh. Yeah.
This is on board with him, and obviously the checker flag is there on the left-hand side, but watch the red lights. Oh, and they cross at exactly the same time, don't they?
And he's not looking, trust me, he is not looking at he's looking down at turn 1. He's looking at his braking zone for turn 1. He's not looking at the checkered flag, he's not looking at the lights. In his peripheral, he might have seen the lights and thought, hang on.
Yeah.
But, yeah. See Nick de Vries, his teammate Stoffel van Dorn was slowest of those who ran, which did not expect half a second behind Antonio Felix da Costa. Stoffel's not having a good weekend so far.
There's some Mercedes fans in the grandstand.
The good news is we're going to see a heck of a fight back from Mitch Evans this afternoon, coming from the back of the grid in the Jaguar.
He always seems to get some kind of qualifying. I feel like he's always disqualified for being underweight in Superpole by like 1 gram or something like that. I'm sure that's happened in the past. It just never seems to work out. There's Oliver Rowland getting ready to head out in Group 2. And the Nissan driver makes his way out. Andre Lotterer heading out there as well. They'll all be hoping they can get across the line. Nick de Vries out on circuit for Mercedes. He is out in this second group of qualifying ahead of the Marrakesh E-Prix. Rowland, Gunter, Mortara, Lotterer, de Vries and Verne, the 6 drivers out there. They've all left the pits to do an out lap, a warm-up lap, and then a full power lap. But the big news, a miscalculation from Jaguar, means the championship leader, Mitch Evans, didn't set a lap time. So we'll start at the back of the grid. Here's Nick de Vries' radio.
Need to be careful for traffic.
No, you don't need to be worried about traffic. Everybody should be out prep. So all the cars behind you, given the release time, should be on prep laps as well.
So that's Nick de Vries giving you the information what I just gave you, or to be more specific, his engineer, which is Albert Lau. That everyone's doing out lap, warm-up lap, then full power lap, so he hasn't got to worry about people coming out of the pits. He's at the front of the queue. He can just do his thing, looking to beat his best qualifying performance of his short Formula E career. A 3rd place on the grid in Diriyah is the best qualifying performance for Nick de Vries. And there's Jean-Eric Verne, who missed yesterday, Dario.
Yeah, he did. He missed. He's gone off down the escape road, it looks like, in turn 11. Did he go wide? It was maybe an optical illusion. Mitch Evans still sitting there. I'm surprised you can't see the steam coming out of his ears. Yeah, so Jean-Eric Verne missed yesterday. He wasn't feeling well, and he missed practice yesterday. He missed 60% of the practice time as you see him crossing the start line into his preparation lap now. 1 minute 30 to go. So he's got about a 10-second gap to avoid happening what happened to Mitch Evans. But a difficult ask for Jean-Eric Verne to get up to speed with only 30 minutes of practice this morning. Didn't really complete a lap at 250 kilowatts qualifying power, and the track feels a lot different at full power than it does at race power at 200. You arrive at the corners so much quicker. You go to the throttle, it wants to spin the tyres up so much more. As we see Max Gunter coming to the end of his lap as well. 58 seconds to go. See the magenta halo glowing. He's at full power, and he's starting his lap. Got to go on board with him. Look, he's looking over now to the left, looking for the apex point of the corner, the braking point. Look how bumpy it is. Again, back to the throttle. Watch for the snap of oversteer. Now just trying to minimise the distance and get on the correct line for turn 3 as he comes through the kinks of turn 2. Bit of movement, blind corner, get as close to the wall as you can, but don't hit it. Snap of oversteer again, big bump. We saw some big corrections there this morning. Jump the curves through the chicane. Watch how bumpy it comes. He's back to full throttle. He's going to be trying to keep the car pointing in the right direction through their long straight now, difficult bumpy braking zone into turn 7. He's managed to stop it. Oh, using a lot of the curb immediately into 8. Thread it through the walls, get as close as you can to the walls. Turn 9, easy corner right up until now. Now it's become the braking zone for turn 10 and you're turning. Did very well to get onto the correct line, back onto the throttle, this long straight. Now another heavy braking zone coming up in turn 11. You're trying to pick out the braking zone. You're now trying to look for the apex point over to your left. Off the brakes, back to throttle. Now you come to turn 12. You've done a lot of hard work. You don't want to mess it up by going onto the curb on exit too much. He's now perfect through there. And how does this lap look? Quickest of all, 1:17.5. Fantastic job by Max Günther in the BMW.
Really strong middle sector there from Günther, so he goes to the top of the times. No one else is really matching him. Nick de Vries has done a reasonable sector 1, and now the fastest middle sector of anyone. So de Vries, the Formula 2 champion.
Oh, hit the wall out of 11. Hard. Has he damaged the car so much? He's still keeping the speed up.
Comes through the final corner, out across the line. The car looks like it might be crabbing a little bit, but he still goes third.
I'll keep you posted. Just watch your braking.
And now here comes Lotterer. Lotterer goes second, 200ths away from Günther. Eduardo Mortara goes third. So De Costa all of a sudden looking really strong, but now he's slipped down to 4th place. Not a good lap from Roland or Verne. They go 7th and 8th. So De Costa is still there in 4th place at the moment. Alexander Sims is on the bubble in 6th position. Roland, Verne, de Grassi, Bird, Van Dorn. And this is not looking good for Bird and Van Dorn as they slide further back down the order. But a great lap from Günther and Lotterer and Mortara, actually. All 3 of those, top job.
Yeah, very impressive. But as you see, De Costa, straight away, P4. You don't have to be on pole at this point. You just have to get into the top 6 after all 4 groups have run.
0.268 seconds. Mitch Evans, his outlap was shown as 6 minutes, 0.268.
This is a point where Mitch Evans cannot lose his temper, though he can't. He just got to keep focused because the car's fast enough. He's doing a great job.
No, I know.
Wow.
I thought I had heaps of margin.
So, were we setting up or?
No, I didn't, and then when I saw you backing up, I said,
look at that face. Face of thunder.
Evans saying there to De Costa.
I did a 17.4, so that makes it nice.
He'd have been 17.4 from Mitch Evans. He'd have been quickest so far.
Wow. And he said he had heaps of margin, and De Costa saying, okay, so I think De Costa apologised to him a little bit, and Evans said, not your fault. Here's a replay of de Vries then, just hitting the wall. Not just hitting the wall.
Just Jack. Just. We're buying a second-hand car from you.
You wouldn't want any of my cars because they're all written off basically. Max Günther, quickest of anyone, a 1:17.562, 200ths ahead of Andre Lotterer with Eduardo Mortara third. De Costa, de Vries and Sims are the top 6. And as it stands, they are through to Super Pole, but that is super tight. Roland missing out, Verne missing out, de Grassi, Bird, Van Dorn, and Mitch Evans all missing out on Super Pole. So these are the drivers left to go, and I'm looking at Freitz, Buemi, and the Mahindras.
Yeah, I mean, Verline was 4th quickest this morning in free practice 2.
Right, let's go down to Nikki Shields. Who have you got?
I'm here with Mitch Evans. Mitch, obviously just a big miscalculation by the team there.
We need to look into it, obviously. To be honest, I thought I did cross the line before the checkered flag, but obviously not. I was told I had margin, so it's a bit of a surprise. Obviously, I'm furious. My lap tied at a 17.4, so I should be clear. So we need to look into it, but not you know, in that position, we shouldn't be making these mistakes.
I mean, this is obviously really going to hurt your championship fight. What can you do in the race today from the back of the grid?
We'll have to wait and see.
All right, thanks very much. Antonio Felix da Costa. It was a great first sector for your lap, but do you think you've done enough to stay into Superpole?
Well, usually here in Marrakesh, you do get away with being in Group 1. It's normally sunny, so it kind of heats up the track for the other groups and you get away. But today, being so cloudy, we see the usual track evolution through the groups. I'm only like 700ths off from Maxi on Group 2, but it's so close today. I don't know. We'll wait another 10 minutes and I'll tell you then.
Find out. Thanks very much.
So great to hear from those drivers with Nicky Shields down in the pit lane. That's Daniel Abt, who missed qualifying last time out in Mexico City, but there, well, it's going to be all focus on Mitch Evans, I'm afraid, and the Jaguar team. He did well, I would say. You knew what he wanted to say every time. He wanted to say this is unacceptable, etc.
Which is what he's going to say when he goes into that engineering room behind closed doors.
Here we go. There's all shakes of the head and see if we can hear anything.
He's not going to say it with the camera there, I think. This is a
What
That's a behind closed doors discussion to get the full.
What do you do when something like that? Because if Mitch Evans goes back there and starts screaming and shouting at everybody, does that achieve? Because everyone knows.
Don't scream and shout.
But what discussion do you need to have? Everyone knows the mistake was made.
When you're quiet, that's when they get worried. Apparently. But they need to have a conversation of, listen, you need to almost change the thinking. Listen, why did we do that? Stop trying to be so clever. Stop. I understand we're trying to maximize everything, but we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We don't need to. We can, just give it a second or two. We've got a dominant car just now. Mitch is clearly on flying form, and so don't mess it up. So that's kind of the conversation you have. I mean, if it was me, I'd try and be constructive. Very difficult to be constructive just now when you're in Mitch Evans' position.
Nick de Vries, 5th. It's mighty close, less than a 10th between the top 4. And one of these drivers, all of these drivers, are going to want to try and slot into that.
Yeah, you've got to say that a little bit of track evolution. These guys are the people in the top 6 right now have got to be worried, I would say.
They've all gone out together.
As usual.
Except, I think, looks like James Collado is going to just go out, do one, and go straight to full power. They were saying on the radio they're going to send him out 20 seconds earlier than they sent Mitch out. Sensible. And that's Collado still there. So he's going to do the same as Evans, but leave 20 seconds earlier. Everybody else is out there scrapping around the position.
Practicing for the race. See him weaving to get some temperature on the tyres. As they said, we're used to much warmer conditions here in Marrakesh. So the operating window of the tyre and what they have to do to get the tyre into its operating window today is much different than yesterday, for instance, when it was 30 degrees centigrade. And the key to qualifying, obviously don't make a mistake, but getting the tyre into that small operating window is what makes the difference between being in Superpole and, I would say now, as tight as it is, being outside the top 10, being outside the top 15.
2 minutes left on the clock. Everybody the one to watch is going to be this man, Jerome D'Ambrosio, who's at the back of the queue, so let's keep an eye on him. If he crosses the line in the next 20 seconds, should be relatively fine, and here he comes out of the final corner, and that should be no worries. Collado, meanwhile, has left the pit, so he's in front of all these folks. And he will be the first man on track, James Collado, who now has all of Jaguar's hopes for qualifying resting on him. And his teammate claimed he did a 17.4. And this is driver's eye. As we come through the left-hander down at turn 3. And this is on board with Sebastian Buemi. We are inside his helmet, little camera just to the left of his eye.
And in qualifying, the last thing you want to see is a car right ahead of you. You need a nice clear track so you can look at the sight lines, you can really focus on what you're doing, not what the car ahead is. So he's going to have to back off through the third sector. The tyres are going to cool down a bit, and it is far from ideal. But as we've seen already today, backs off too much. He's going to miss the checkered flag.
So here comes James Collado at full power. The Jaguar driver, first season in Formula E. And this is his 5th appearance. He climbed 10 places in both of the last 2 races, but he'd like to start further up so he doesn't have to climb those 10 places. Here he comes into turn 1.
Yeah, it's clear that James is the qualifying is a thing that he needs to work on and needs to be able to pick up the pace so he can start normally starting up front with his teammate Mitch Evans. A little bit twitchy into 3.
First sector split coming up, and it's okay for Collado. It's matched Lotterer, but it's 2 tenths away from Gunter and 3 tenths away from the quickest first sector time we've seen. Keep an eye out on the rest of the first sectors as they come in. We'll get the middle sector for James Collado in a moment, the 30-year-old.
Looked good through 7. Using all the road in 8. That puts him slightly offline for 9. Again, no lockup. We see a lot of lockups into turn 10. Yeah, maybe a bit slow off turn 10. We'll see in a second. He's coming across in the second sector.
It's not a terrible middle sector, actually. This is good stuff from Collado. He's got it. I think Superpole might be a bit beyond his reach, but his best qualifying performance so far is 17th on the grid. So if he can improve on that, I think he'll be satisfied. Collado across the line, 8th place. Not too bad.
Not bad at all. And within a 10th of being in the top 6.
And actually, no one else is really doing anything that interesting. Sebastian Buemi's going okay. Here comes Pascal Wehrlein. His 2 sectors haven't been anything to write home about, so he goes 12th quickest. Robin Freitz across the line goes 11th. And here comes Buemi. Can he get up into the top 6? Yes, he can. Pushes Sims out. Just gets through there, Alexander Sims. Apslap is nowhere, down in 16th place. D'Ambrosio goes 7th.
Good lap from D'Ambrosio.
Just missing out on Superpole, but he's there or thereabouts in the mix. So 17 drivers have run. D'Ambrosio and Sims getting pushed out of Superpole. I think Da Costa is going to make it through, you know, from Group 1.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. Wehrlein saying that the car was very sideways, which is probably a good race balance, but not what you want in qualifying.
Robin tapped the wall, I'm being told by the team. Aha! And now I'm being shown by my eyes Robin tapping the wall.
That's not a tap.
Yeah.
That's one of your taps, Jack. That's not a tap. That's a big hit.
That was my 206.
It's on the edge of the wall as well. Wehrlein. Here we go. We're going to see the replay again. That's a big hit. This as the wall comes out, so the suspension takes the brunt of it. Got to hope that it hasn't damaged the transmission though. Misses the apex a bit. And wait for it. Whoa! No, that's got to be very careful because the transmissions are so light in these cars for efficiency. The hits like that don't do it any good at all.
So Freitz 13th at the moment, and yeah, lost a couple of tenths pretty much in every sector. So D'Ambrosio and Buemi, the big winners from that 3rd group of qualifying. Gunter still quickest. He, Lotterer, Mortara, Da Costa, De Vries and Buemi through to Superpole as it stands.
I mean, Andre Lotterer again, pole position in Mexico City.
Yeah,
he's running 2nd right now. Crikey, it's got a not very odd, but it's got an odd look to it today. At the moment, as it sits, the timing screen.
This is the look as it stands. 200s between Max Gunter and Andre Lotterer. Less than a 10th still between the top 4. Nick De Vries in 5th for Mercedes. 6th is Sebastian Buemi. That is the rest of the top 6. But look how close it is from Buemi down to De Grassi. What, 1/10 of a second? 2/10 of a second, let's say. Buemi all the way down to De Grassi. Freitz, Bird, Wehrlein, Van Dorn, Apps will be towards the back, along with, of course, Mitch Evans. 6 drivers to go. Let's go down to Nikki Shields. Who is she talking to?
I am talking to Max Gunter. Max, I mean, you said you guys were going to really focus on qualifying after Mexico, and it looks like you've done just that.
Yeah, so far looks good. I think it was a good performance, and yeah, I think should be enough. Let's see the last group, but yeah, all in all, good feeling in the car today. I think we yeah, have came back to our strength. So all good so far.
I mean, BMW are having a brilliant season so far, but this is obviously the first time for you guys racing here. How tough is it going to be to maintain your position at the top of the standings?
I mean, it's never easy. The season is so long. I mean, it was just now a good start, I think, for the whole team into the year. But there's so many more races to drive and so many more points to score that we just need to really focus race by race to extract all from each event and yeah, continue like this.
Thanks very much.
Impressive, Max Günther.
What makes you say that? Apart from the fact he dominated in Santiago. But he had a great race, didn't dominate.
Great race in Santiago. Very quick again here. And he's young. He's not the... There's the damage. Rear right of France's car. He's not the youngest driver anymore, Nick de Vries is, but he's still only 22, Günther.
You can see the cement inside the wheel. Yeah, 22 is very impressive. Yeah, he's been racing more than half his life. So it would be second nature to see Neil Jani. Neil Jani needs a good performance today.
Really does.
He does. I mean, he's struggled. This morning was, again, he was 22nd quickest.
Let's go back down to Nicky Shields.
Yeah, I'm here with Andre Lotterer. Andre, you had a pole position in Mexico City. Potentially another front row start.
Hopefully, yes. It was a good lap. Left a lot on the table in first sector. Didn't go so well in free practice, so took it safe, and then I got a bit more confident throughout the lap. And yeah, the car feels good, so hopefully we can go into Super Bowl and do something good again.
But it has been a while since that first podium.
Yeah, not that long ago, come on. But yeah, definitely need to go back on it.
All right, thanks very much. Good luck for the race.
Nikki's asking the difficult questions today, isn't she?
She certainly is. What can this gentleman do? Oliver Turvey, getting ready to go out in the Neo. You gave him a little dark horse shout out for Super Pole. Do you think he's got a 2/10 gap to Max Günther?
He could do it. I mean, to rule nothing out with Oliver Turvey. I mean, I think it's fair to say the Neo 333 car in race conditions isn't efficient enough for him to even score points, maybe, everything being equal. Qualifying, though, we've seen it. He can pull a lap out, and the car is quick enough over one lap.
Out goes Brendan Hartley. Felipe Massa getting ready to head out onto the track. The final 6 drivers about to take to the circuit then. The 6 spots in Super Pole currently occupied by Günther, Lotterer, Mortara, Da Costa, De Vries and Buemi. Can one of these 6 drivers slot in? Felipe Massa, Brendan Hartley, Oliver Turvey, Nico Muller, Neil Jani and Ma Tinghua.
Let's think, Muller, for instance, when he's tested here for Audi in the rookie tests before, I think he was quickest.
Yeah, he was quickest.
Years. Yeah, he did it. So he's got the potential. Massa, Felipe, I mean, he's definitely quick. So
Gianni's teammate is second at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still Group 4, still all to play for. And if you're in the sort of Nick de Vries, Sebastian Buemi part of the top 6 at the moment, you can be a bit nervous.
I don't want to be too whatever. This feels like a massive lap for Gianni coming up. His teammate is second. Gianni has not had great qualifyings this year. His best qualifying is 12th. Your teammate's second. The track should be better. This is big.
Okay, based on Andre's sector times, we still have 13 seconds before the end.
Gianni just...
So as long as you keep up the same pace that Andre did, you're good for time.
So that's Carl Wilson-Clark saying, basically advising him how to not miss the checkered flag.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong about Neil Jani. And it is to get the confidence of the team again and maybe the trust of the team. And he raced for them in sports cars. He's got a long history with Porsche. To get the confidence back of the team, I think this could be very important today.
There he is in the Porsche, coming through the left-hander. The 2 Geox Dragons out there as well. We saw Jay Penske a moment ago. And there comes the Porsche. They're all doing an out lap, a warm-up lap, and then a full power lap. And Gianni is at the back of the queue. Turvey's at the front.
Now start to pick up the pace now a little bit. Good thing for Gianni, he hasn't got all the traffic. Again, we talked about the sight lines and Felipe Massa, put lock into the tyres, try and put some heat into the tyres. He's obviously not happy with what he's feeling through the steering wheel as he turns. The tyre's not biting as he would like, so he needs to get the pressures up. He'll have the tyre temperatures on the dashboard as well, telling him it's too cold, possibly your brakes too cold too. Got to build some heat in the next half lap.
A minute left on the clock. So Turvey is well out in front. Then it is the two Geox Dragons.
And if I'm Massa, I wouldn't want to. He's behind Ma, and Ma's been consistently the slowest guy out there, and but quite a way off the next slow. So he would definitely. I'd be thinking, I've got to get past him because he's going to hold me up on this lap. As we see Ma's teammate Oliver Turvey turning. He's gone into the third sector of the lap. He can now turn up to qualifying power, 250 kilowatts. And off he goes now. Got to come out to turn 12. The lap starts really here as you accelerate towards the start line and carrying the maximum speed you can.
So here comes Turvey, down towards turn 1. Oh, little lock-up on the left front. Still got it in. Right up to the wall.
When he goes to the throttle, the car sticks. There was no snap of oversteer, so the car looks good so far. My worry would be, is it going to turn well enough? Oh, snap of oversteer and entry. Looks like it's turning well enough. It looks like it's handling very well. Has it got the power down the straights?
Turvey through the first sector, and it's not great, to be honest with you, and he's had a lock-up at the chicane as well. But he's a bit slower than Brendan Hartley. The fastest first sector has come from Nico Muller in the Geox Dragon. On board with Turvey again. There is Nico Muller. Sorry, it's Hartley. My apologies, in the Dragon.
Hartley through turn 8. Coming to about halfway through the sector 2 of the lap.
Actually, you know what I said about Gianni needing a good lap? Felipe Massa's teammate, Eduardo Mortara, is third as well. So I think Massa and Gianni are in the same gang here of really needing to do something. Good
Hartley,
middle sector.
Fantastic middle sector for Hartley. Very strong.
I think he's a bit too far away. We've got Turvey on the left, Hartley on the right. Here comes Turvey out over the line, and he goes slowest, Oliver Turvey, 0.7 of a second away. Hartley goes up into 12th place. Nico Muller goes 17th, so he lost a lot of time. Ma Xinghua goes a second away from Oliver Turvey. Here comes Felipe Massa across the line. Massa, 21st, and Gianni 21st. The two drivers that needed a big result have had a very bad result. Neil Gianni 21st, Felipe Massa 22nd. Emil Lindsay there, the head of the Porsche team in the middle, a second slower than his teammate.
Nobody's talking. That's not a good sign.
What is there to say?
Shake of the head from Jay Penske.
You see behind him there Tom Danes, the mechanic on Hartley's car. It's his 40th birthday today, so happy birthday to Tom. And concerned faces at Neo as well. I mean, Neo have the slowest car, so it's fair enough when they qualify at the back to a degree. Oh, that was a big moment for Massa, and then he was on the dirt.
Yeah, as soon as you're off, slightly offline. Dirt tracking. And by that point, you know the lap's gone. Unfortunately, that's turn 3, so pretty early in the lap. This last corner, locking up a bit, but by that point, the damage is already done, really.
So now, focus turns to Superpole. Gunter, Lotterer, Mortara, Da Costa, De Vries and Buemi will go out in reverse order for the battle for pole position. And Gunter also picks up a point for topping the group qualifying. So he remains 8th in the championship, but he's got a point. So there are the top 6 that will progress through to the battle for pole position. Buemi, De Vries, Da Costa, Mortara, Lotterer and Gunter. Jerome D'Ambrosio will start 7th for Mahindra. Alexander Sims 8th. A trio of Brits in 8th, 9th and 10th. Sims, Roland and Collado. Jean-Eric Vernon 11th. Brendan Hartley 12th place for the Geox Dragon team. And that is his best qualifying performance of the season, Brendan Hartley. The two Envision Virgin Racing cars down in 14th and 15th, and then real struggles really for Stoffel Van Dorn, Daniel Abt, Gianni, Massa and Ma bringing up the rear of the field. Superpole is coming up next. Let's go down to Nikki Shields. Who are you talking to?
I'm here with James Collado. Great improvement there in qualifying. You'll be starting on the grid from P10. What's the strategy for the race now?
Not sure about the race yet. I'm just, yeah, I'm over the moon with the quali. Honestly, that's been my biggest weakness so far this season. I've overdone it in nearly every quali. This time, underdid it slightly. So there's a fine balance, but something I'm really getting used to. Shame about Mitch, the car. I mean, the car is fantastic. We've got one of the best cars on the grid, and I think we can really get some good points today. I think if we just keep it clean, concentrate on energy management, we can do really well. So yeah, over the moon.
Yeah, well, it looks like the pressure's going to be on you to get and secure the points. Good luck, James. Pascal, quick word. How was the qualifying lap for you?
Not good. I had a mistake in turn 4 and went off in turn 5, so it was not great. But yeah, the pace was there this morning, just not now. Didn't put it together and struggling a bit with the rear. But let's see what we can do now in the race.
Thanks very much. And our race winner from last year, Jerome D'Ambrosio, what are your hopes for this weekend?
Well, I think we've gone decent qualifying in P7. Close to Super Pole, it's really close out there. It wasn't a perfect lap, but I mean, good enough to be fighting at the front. It's a high energy track, so I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen, and I mean, yeah, the race hasn't started yet, but it's in a good position, and let's see what we can do.
Great, well done.
7th place then for Jerome D'Ambrosio. There's Andre Lotterer getting prepared. Pole position last time out in the Tag Heuer Porsche. The 38-year-old from Duisburg in his 30th Formula E race. Amazing, he still has no wins. 2 pole positions, 5 podiums. He's been second 4 times. Let's go back down to Nicky.
Lap was all right. I'm only 3/10 off. So I think considering the lack of laps I have on this track from yesterday, it's not too bad. I'm not, sorry.
Just demonstrating that you are actually not that well.
I'm not that well, but yeah, I mean, I'm not really disappointed with my lap. Obviously, it's far. I'm far away. 11th. It's gonna start the race probably 13th. So it's gonna be another moving race for me coming back up the field. So it will be fun. Will be fun. I just hope I'm gonna have enough energy and that I can make a good race.
All right. Well, you like a challenge.
I'm gonna be coughing at everybody.
Yes, I might not interview you again. Thanks very much.
When he was talking about energy, was he talking about him or the car? He sounds terrible. But great job for missing all the practice this morning, or yesterday, should I say?
Antonio Felix da Costa hopping in the car, getting ready to go. Sebastian Buemi will be the first driver out in Superpole. Antonio Felix da Costa looking for his 2nd career pole position. His first one was taken away from, I think, Long Beach season 3. I think he got pole and was then disqualified for tyre pressures.
It was definitely tyre pressures, and Long Beach. Don't remember which season.
It was season 3 because I wasn't there. I was watching at 4 a.m. in Bahrain or something because I was, you know, still committed. There's Sebastian Buemi. So this is the fastest lap of the session on board with Max Günther here in Marrakesh.
And this was a fantastic lap, I have to say. I mean, nice and smooth. Kind of walks it into the corner of turn 1. Not a chirp of oversteer on the throttle. Through the kink of 2, and now you're sort of setting up for the long corner at 3. Again, get the car in, get close to that wall. God, you almost brushed the wall. There's a big bump right there, but no oversteer again. The car's putting the power down very well. Walked it into the chicane, the back of the car. I say walk it in the back of the car, is just sliding the whole time. Fights a bit of oversteer through turn 6. Listen to the car hammering the ground. Now you've got to pick out the braking point with precision as you come down to turn 7, over the bumps. Use a bit of curb. Don't overdo it. The car is almost sliding in front a little bit. You need to get rid of some of that for the race, I would say. You need the front of the car turning ever so well in the race to allow you to save energy. Neat and tidy through 10. Doesn't look spectacular. That doesn't mean it's not quick. He's putting all the speed to the road. Now over to the left. Again, heavy braking zone. Off the brakes. Jumps the curb. He's using a lot of curb.
Yeah.
And then this last corner, don't use the curb on the exit. But if you heard the tyres chirping as he crosses the line. And that's quickest of anybody in group qualifying. And that's a point towards the championship.
So that was Max Günther's lap Sebastian Buemi waiting at the end of the pit lane. Neil Gianni is under investigation for a technical infraction, which we believe is a throttle map, so presumably that's turning it up too soon, potentially before the start of the final sector. That's something that can happen.
Yeah, and with throttle, 100%, you're only allowed to go to 100 basically. Sometimes, and the way you accelerate can spike and get you a throttle penalty basically for the throttle map. If you accelerate too fast, sometimes some of the teams have been saying, well, they haven't been, they've been sort of quietly saying, should I say, but a lot of them are complaining about the same thing.
Also, someone's just tweeted me, hashtag Marrakesh E-Prix, Daniel Humphreys. I said James Collado has made up 10 places in the last 2 races, starting 10th today.
Ooh.
Is he? Good point, Mr. Humphreys. Right, there is Sebastian Buemi making his way out on track. A man with a lot of Formula E pole positions, Buemi.
14?
Yeah, 14.
I mean, 14 pole positions. There was that, was it season 2? He was just either spun in qualifying or qualified on pole. He was dominant that when it was Renault E-Dams before Nissan took over the program.
So let's see what the Swiss driver can do. Finally managed to get a podium in the last race.
His teammate Oliver Rowland's going to start 9th, so it's looking like a strong day so far for the Nissan E-Dams guys. There's Michael Carcamo, the boss. You see the halo now glowing magenta. Up to 250 kilowatts, about to start the lap again. The lap, you've got to get off this last corner well. Oh, we've got to go driver's eye. Fantastic.
So this is on board in the helmet of Sebastian Buemi, down towards turn 1 on his qualifying lap, on his Super Pole lap here in Formula E.
The only time he's going to be looking at the dash is when he crosses the splits to see if he's up or down on the predicted lap time. He comes through 2 again. You don't notice the halo when you're sitting in the car. You're looking so far ahead, so far down the road. Into 3. You see how difficult it is to actually see the wall. Again, looking for the braking point, looking for the clipping point in turn 4 of the apex. Jump the curb, back to throttle. You heard almost the tyres spinning up as they over-rotated a bit with wheel spin.
First sector's okay. It's very difficult to get a gauge in Super Pole.
Whoa! Very close to the wall exiting 8. Got the car stopped. Quite a shallow entry into 10. But again, back to throttle, no problem at all.
Here comes the middle sector for Sebastian Buemi. It's okay. Again, although the track isn't changing as much, usually you get to Super Pole and it's a lot hotter than when they first went out.
Yeah, last year Super Pole was actually quicker than group qualifying. When it comes to the line,
so 1 minute 17.8. Not bad. A 1 minute 17 that wouldn't have got him through to Super Pole, but those aren't the rules. It's just a case of doing what you can in this session. Yeah.
The worst he can start is 6th.
Yeah. Michael Carcamo, global boss of Nissan Motorsport there, with the earpiece in. This was how close he got to the wall.
Oh, it started off, he kind of jumped the curb a little bit at the apex and it set him off. In super slow-mo, watch his hands as he goes to the throttle, see how much he corrects. If he does, no. And he's going to hit a bump. Watch for the sparks. Wheels off the ground. There you go. Some dust from the carbon fibre as it disintegrates.
Next up, Nick de Vries, 3rd place. His best starting position in Diriyah, the 25-year-old from Sneek in the Netherlands. Can he sneak
very good check
into pole position?
Current F2 champion, current Formula 2 champion. He's got a lot of talent, Nick de Vries, and he's really picked up Formula E in a hurry and all the little nuances of it. Let's see what he can do.
So here comes de Vries out of the final corner and across the line. Down towards turn 1.
Oh, a bit of a snap of oversteer on the way in over the bumps. But he managed to keep it on line. It's whether he had to stay on the brakes a bit longer than he wanted and if it cost him some speed. Neat and tidy into 3. Slightly later, maybe turning than some of the other guys. You can see the damage on the right rear from his contact during his qualifying run.
His last pole position in anything was at the Sochi Autodrome in October last year, where he stuck it on pole in the Formula 2 race. His first sector is, well, 300ths away from Buemi, so they are neck and neck.
A bit of understeer again through 8. He almost had to get off the throttle to get the front of the car to tuck in to make the corner. And this was something Van Dorn complained about in the Mercedes this morning, talking about the front of the car sliding, didn't have the balance that he felt he needed.
He's got 2 tenths though. He's found 2 tenths on Buemi in the middle sector.
That'll do it.
This could put him on provisional pole here. Nick de Vries. Dutchman through the final corner, out across the line. Quickest, a 1:17.590 all the time, really coming in the middle sector. Pretty much matched Buemi in sectors 1 and 2.
All right, mate, good job. Scenario 4 in lap scenario. Watch the dash, stay on the racing line. Keep these tires clean.
Albert Lau on the radio there, saying good job to Nick de Vries.
Oh, something came off. I think that was from the damage from earlier. He lost the part of the bodywork on the right rear after, in group qualifying, hitting the wall.
Sebastian Buemi, that's Mark Preston, team principal of DS Techeetah. And this is the driver, Antonio Felix da Costa. Preston told me yesterday, this is by far not by far, he didn't say that, but he said it's the best driver lineup we've ever had.
Which is a big statement, because they had Andre Lostra last season, along with Jean-Eric Verne. This was my pick for pole today, this man.
Sakon Yamamoto as well, once. Mark Preston.
There you go.
Here go. No, we shouldn't joke. Sorry, lovely man, Sakon. Here comes da Costa then to the final corner, looking for his second pole position. That DS Techeetah is a very, very quick car in race and qualifying mode. Can da Costa get the most out of it and take his first pole position for the team?
Again, he saw his hands. He's turning to the left and straightening up, turning to the left, straightening up as the rear of the car tries to break loose. If da Costa can qualify near the front, the powertrain in the DS Techeetah is very efficient, and he's going to be, I think, hard to beat today. Through the first sector, 27.1.
It's a big first sector from da Costa.
And that takes the pressure off a bit. It means you don't have to extend anywhere and go into territory that you haven't before. Just do what you did before. You don't have to gain time. So it means... wow, he used all the curve.
I think he really brushed the tyres on the exit there. They seem to just wobble a tiny bit.
Yeah, so what I was saying about not trying to find extra time, da Costa's completely ignoring and doing a great job with it.
Through the middle sector now comes da Costa. Let's see what his split is compared to Nick de Vries. He's more than 3 tenths up now. Big lap coming from the Portuguese.
Oh, the car turned in ever so well into 11. Don't overdo it in this last corner. Yeah, lovely through there again.
Da Costa goes to provisional pole, 4 tenths faster, with the fastest lap time we've seen all day.
FP2 mode, regen pad, no crossing. Very good lap, Antonio, very good lap. 4 tenths ahead of de Vries.
One man not smiling in that garage. Clapping, but not smiling.
Yes.
And da Costa's happy with that. Even just his copy, you could hear he was feeling like a cheeky chappy.
Hey, Jean-Eric Verne is 11th, having again missed free practice 1 yesterday. It's impressive. You've got to be impressed with that job.
Look at this. I think he just makes them wobble.
Miles away, Jack.
Right.
That's the gauntlet thrown down and then some.
Eduardo Mortara. He is a 33-year-old man. 26 races in Formula E, 1 win coming in Hong Kong last season. No pole positions for Mortara. His best was second on the grid the year before in Hong Kong. And 3 podiums. Here he comes. Swiss, Italian, comes into the first corner in Morocco.
And multiple Macau Grand Prix winner. which is really the street circuit, the end-all street circuit. So he's the perfect type of driver you want for Formula E. On the brakes, nice and neat into 3. You see him fighting the wheel as he goes back to throttle.
Here he comes through the first sector. He's there with De Vries and Buemi. He's not there with Da Costa, but he's in the mix for the front row as sort of as it stands.
See him actually reaching up and adjusting his helmet as he drove down the straight out of turn 6.
Susie Wolf, the team principal of the Venturi team, the Monegasque.
Oh, that wasn't. He lost a bit of time there. I think he had to get out the throttle or hit the wall, and he chose the former.
Middle sector split coming up. How far away is he going to be?
Let's see how it affects it. A couple of tenths. But as you say, he's in contention with De Vries and Buemi.
Yeah, he's not troubling Da Costa, but he's very much in the mix with the Mercedes and the Nissan. Through the final corner comes the Venturi, a Mercedes customer team. All 4 wheels over the exit, and he goes 3rd ahead of Buemi. Yeah, I think that's a fair reaction.
Yeah, not a great last sector. 16.4, lost a couple of tenths.
That's true, actually.
To compensate the 2 seconds I was getting my ass kicked at the weekend.
Da Costa's in a happy mood, isn't he?
This is a problem for Vern.
But now in the race you are... you have to. Now in the race you can take a coffee and go home, right? Take it easy.
Let's not give him the trophy just yet.
Yeah. Here's a look at Mortara's moment.
If he didn't hit it, he was close. Let's see Susie Wolf's reaction. You wouldn't want to play poker against Susie. That was...
Have you ever played, actually, the thought of 2 Scottish people playing poker feels like it just wouldn't happen.
No. We tend not to gamble.
No. Right, next up, the man on pole position last time out in Mexico City, Andre Lotterer, the 38-year-old. Throws it into the first corner.
He just how heavily he braked compared to the others. We saw the car diving as he jumped on the brake pedal.
Down to turn 3.
Bit neater through 3.
The party's starting down at 3.
Already, it's a bit early for that.
Lotterer isn't quite in the party.
No. Missed turn 4 as well, Jack. How far off is he that first sector? He's in with the De Vries Mortara Buemi first split.
No one is troubling Antonio Felix Da Costa.
Listen to the car hitting the ground. This will be interesting on board. This is where we've seen the action. A bit tame. A bit tame through turn 8, which is not something you normally say about Lotterer. He used a bit of curb. Decent through the second sector. Let's see how he compares. A 33.8 was the Costa split. 33.7.
That's good from Andre
Lotterer. He's only a 10th back. Can he make it up in these corners? Going to be a bit greedy now. Risk a bit more. See if you can make that extra 10th.
Lotterer is in the mix for pole, trying to get Porsche's 2nd pole in a row. Out over the line. Oh, it's not quite enough. Less than a 10th of a second. Fastest middle, fastest final, but not enough to usurp Da Costa from provisional pole position.
You've got to say, well done, Porsche. Well done, Lotterer.
So that means Da Costa has booked himself a place on the front row for DS Techeetah. With one more driver left to run, Max Günther. There's Jean-Eric Verne, who will be down in 11th place. Da Costa looking for his first pole position with the team. So was this where Lotterer was quickest in 2 and 3? Is this where it went wrong in sector 1?
You'd have to think so. Look, he jumped on the brakes a little bit late, and he's offline, and he's trying to salvage the car at this point, and then he does the same thing here. Look, you see, he doesn't get anywhere close to the curb, and he's on a tighter line to turn through turn 5 because of that. You saw the curb just not as neat as the other 2 sectors, which were fabulous. See on board, yeah. Oh, did you see the snap of oversteer? And he had to correct to avoid hitting the wall.
Here comes Max Günther. Quickest in group qualifying. He's already picked up a point for that, but now he is looking for his first career pole position. The 22-year-old from Oberstdorf in Germany, and we're going driver's eye as he tries to take his first career pole.
again, nice and neat through one. He looked very good. The split, certainly compared to Lotter, was a bit neater. Oh, he's getting close to the wall and three. He's going to feel more grip the closer he can get. Snap oversteer, over the bump, exit a three.
Good first sector, only 5 thousandths slower than Antonio Felix da Costa.
And he was good through 4.5. He floated it over the curb in the turn 5 chicane. This is the key next point, is braking for 7 right here. Or late on the brakes.
Gunter and da Costa fought each other for victory in Santiago a couple of months ago. Now they're fighting for pole position in Morocco. Gunter gets on the power, comes through the middle sector split, and he's up by 1/10 and a half.
1/10 and a half, that's a mile, that's a massive, and locks it up though in 11.
Does he get it in?
Yeah, but he's lost time. But has he lost 1/10 and a half or more?
Here he comes through the final corner. It's Gunter or da Costa for pole, across the line. It's da Costa. Gunter loses it by 600ths. And that is a relieved and happy Portuguese driver who takes his first pole position for DS Techeetah. And that is Roger Griffiths, the boss of the BMW Andretti Motorsport team, that far away. Gunter's gonna be kicking himself. It's second on the grid where he won the last race from in Chile, but he's gonna be kicking himself.
The guys, well done, good position for the race.
Oh, or he'll just be fairly satisfied.
Until he gets back and then realises a great job by the DS Techeetah guys.
High fives all around. Here's a look at it again, Max Gunter. This was his little snap over the bump.
Yeah, and that was fine. Kept the throttle on, controlled it nicely, and this is the next bit. In the 4.5 area, he did a phenomenal job. This is where it all went wrong. And turn 11, just locked the outside tyre, and from that point, you're trying not to crash.
Oh, look at the face.
Yeah. That's probably what Gunter was doing behind the helmet.
That's the...
There's the other side of the coin.
That's the emotion of it. Let's go down to Nicky Shields then to hear from our pole sitter.
Well, we saw a cry of relief there after Max Gunter's lap, because you are pole position. Congratulations, a superb lap.
Yeah, you know what it is, like the lap was good. You always leave a bit of lap time here and there, but and then you know we're here watching, and the other guys they're coming for it. You know they actually go quicker here and there, but it's in the end you have to put it together super tight between Andre, Maxi, and myself. So yeah, just really pleased. You know, like we've had a couple of non so good qualifyings, and to be on pole, like to come back, you know, with a pole position I'm really happy with that.
And of course, you've had 2 consecutive second-place finishes. You know what follows.
Well, I hope. No pressure, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You my new boss or what?
I'm not sure about that, but good luck for the race.
Well, the DS Techeetahs have been strong at carving through the field.
I need to improve in Superpole to take more risk.
Did you go out prep or out push on the prep?
You?
Out push, and I felt like fuck my front, but now they were...
Well, sorry about Antonio Felix da Costa. You might notice you very rarely hear radio from da Costa because he swears all the time, but we thought we'd give him a chance there, but yeah, apologies for that language.
You see when they're having these chats and telling each other all this stuff?
Yeah.
I would always just sort of,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
because da Costa there, I felt, was saying, if you do out push in your group lap, then it's the same when you come to the... Yeah. But you wouldn't give advice to...
Nothing. Tell him nothing.
Right, so Antonio Felix da Costa on pole position with a 1:17.158, but less than a 10th between he, Gunter, and Lotterer. Nick de Vries is 4th for the Mercedes team, with Mortara and Buemi completing the top 6. And then James Collado completed the top 10. But Mitch Evans, I'd forgotten about this, the big story of qualifying. Mitch Evans starts at the back of the grid after failing to make it to do a qualifying lap. Unbelievable. Vernon.
All right, I'm down here with Alan McNish, team principal of the Audi team. Alan, both drivers in the bottom half of the table. It's not what we expect from you guys.
No, it certainly isn't. It's a very, very tight battle. That's the thing at the moment. And you can see just by the qualifying, if you're a 10th up or a 10th down, it can have like a 10-place grid effect, which then obviously impacts on your championship. I suppose from the overall championship perspective, you know, Lucas being in Group 1 is a good point because that means you're in the top 6. But it's going to be a bit of a fight today, that's for sure.
Let's talk about the conditions out there. Temperature has dropped significantly since we arrived at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, I know. I didn't pack for the cold, and we've got the cold. You know, if you remember...
Hang on, Alan. You're Scottish. You're used to the cold.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't pack for it. I can tell you, here it was thermals this morning. You know, we were here last year, and it was like 3-4 degrees Celsius in the mornings, and we were 29-30 yesterday. And then today it's overcast, and that's having an effect because it obviously affects the tyres. And in the race, it'll affect the requirement to think about your battery temperature as well, which suddenly gets reduced a little bit with this.
And also, this is the longest track that we've raced on so far, just under 3 kilometres. Add into that the temperature, so you've got to be really efficient, and you've got to know your numbers on this circuit in Marrakesh.
Yeah, you definitely do. The good thing is, from everybody's point of view, we've been here before, so it's a known quantity. The circuit hasn't changed at all in its format in any way. However, saying that, the cars are developing, and we're always finding out new things as we go along. But you're right, the efficiency is going to be a big factor this afternoon.
What are you going to say now to your two drivers who've got a wealth of experience? You know, you've got a former champion in your ranks. What do you say now? Do you just leave them to it, go and have some lunch, or do you sit down and say, right, guys, this is how we're going to climb through this grid?
No, I'm not going to tell them how to do it. I'm going to tell them to get stuck in and actually go for it, because ultimately where we are, we don't get any points, and you've got to get in the top 10 to get the points.
All right, good man. Let's talk about Antonio Felix da Costa's lap. Obviously, you saw it. What have they suddenly found at DS de Cheetah?
Not sure they've found something specific. If I look back, even Antonio last year, when he was with a different team, then he had a very good qualifying average. And he's been able to take that sort of philosophy, and I think it's one of his sort of skill sets, is he can get the most out of it in that one lap, you know, the big lap as well. The thing he did here, which others struggled with, was he's able to go straight out and put in what we call an out push. He didn't have a build-up lap to it, and he's delivered, and there's no question about it. He was close, was super close in Superpole, but he was on the right end of that 1/10.
Now, I've got to ask you, because it is going to be one of the stories that we'll all talk about post-qualifying. Mitch Evans, let me ask you, Alan, why do people leave it so late? Why did they leave it on the cusp of the checkered flag?
You like to cut it fine. And
yeah, but are conditions going to change, Alan, in that small period of time, that it's actually going to make a difference?
Yes, and that's a simple fact. We were talking about how difficult it is and how tight the grid is at this moment. You can't leave anything on the table at all. We are looking at the absolute detail, and we're talking tenths of millimeters on specifications on the car. At the same time, in terms of your timing to get out, it's very clear the last car has got the best track advantage, and we've saw that through the course of the season, up to 2% between the first and the last car. We can't give away 0.1%, never mind 2%, and that was ultimately what they were going for, but it cost them in this occasion.
It backfired, especially when Mitch is obviously sat on top of the table, albeit by just a point. But you guys went out early. What was your thinking for qualifying?
Well, we're at a different end of the pit lane as well because of our championship position last year, and we'd also have been caught out by that before, and we've seen others. And so there's a point where you're trying to balance off those risks of being on the wrong end of it, the wrong car. Because if you're the last car and people naturally back up to get a gap, then you can easily get shuttled out of it as well.
Now, Alan, we never like to throw anyone under the bus. We never like to talk anyone out of a job. I'm not going to do that. But someone's got to be accountable. What's going on in Jaguar right now?
Well, to be honest with you, I think there'll be a little bit of frustration because clearly they were quick. They're at the head of the table at the moment. But, you know, I don't think you really point the finger at anybody in these situations because you can't do anything about it. It's in the past. You just got to make sure that it doesn't happen again. You know, we've had situations like that. Other teams have as well. And so I do feel for them, but I'm happy it's not us this time.
All right, Alan, it's always a joy. Thank you very much.
Well, here's a look at the highlights of qualifying for the Marrakesh E-Prix. Sam Bird getting warmed up. Mitch Evans got into the car, but he needn't have bothered because the Jaguar team miscalculated. The lights went green, Evans went out, no trouble at all. But He crossed the line too late to start a flying lap. There, the lights are red before he crossed the line, and the team couldn't believe it. With the cars that did get to do a flying lap, it was a very impressive performance from Antonio Felix da Costa, who was the only driver from Group 1 to get through into Superpole. Nick de Vries was out in Group 2. In fact, and he even brushed the wall. I forgot about that. Nick de Vries hit the wall and has still gone on to qualify in 4th place. Maxi Gunter out in Group 2 as well. 4 of the 6 in Superpole came from Group 2. Mitch Evans unhappy. Out went James Collado. He did a good job to qualify inside the top 10 for the first time. Robin Freitz didn't do a good job. He whacked into the wall and he will start in 14th place. Sebastian Buemi was the only driver from Group 3 to sneak into the Superpole session. Nick de Vries ended up qualifying in 4th position for the Mercedes team. Antonio Felix da Costa went out and did a very, very impressive lap. It looked as though it might be enough to seal him pole position. Mortara tried, got a bit loose, and ended up qualifying in 5th spot, which satisfied Susie Wolf to a degree. Andre Lotterer nearly got there, but a slow first sector meant he was just a 1/10 of a second away from da Costa. It was Gunter versus da Costa for pole, but ultimately that lockup cost him the fraction of a second required to beat Antonio Felix da Costa to pole position. The Portuguese got it.
So, Alan, talk us through what happens now from a team perspective. Obviously, you've got some data from both the free practicing sessions, you've done qualifying, you know where you sit on the grid. How do you calculate how you're going to climb that grid now and hopefully get to the front?
Well, there's a few things that you do. One is you have to wait on the FIA, the organising body, delivering how many attack modes we've got and also for how long as well, because that changes some of the ideas behind how aggressive you would maybe go. It also depends on the grid position, because if you're at the front, you maybe look at a more defensive approach. If you're at the back, you've got to look towards the end of the race and try to conserve energy for those overtakes right at the end. But certainly from our point of view, engineers are sitting in there, they're going through the numbers right now. At 10 to 2, we will have a sort of basically our strategy meeting where we go through those numbers, give them to the drivers, and then after that it's delivering it on track.
So you have a base plan, obviously, and then you take everything that we've learnt this morning and where you are in qualifying, and then you add that into your base plan and then kick on from there.
Fundamentally, yes, and it's also delivered by the position on the grid from there. There is an element that you are living it live, and so especially when it comes to attack mode and the strategy around about that, it depends on what the people around and about are doing. Do you use it to attack? Do you use it to defend? The one big question we have with that is we don't know exactly how much time loss to go into the attack mode area is at the moment, and that changes as the race goes on from, say, your first attack mode to your second, or if there's 3 allowed this time, your third one.
So let me talk to you about attack mode, because it's had a massive impact on the racing, it really has. What are the advantages of using it early, and what are the advantages of using it late?
Again, depends where you are. We had situations more last year in season 5 where you tried to get rid of them early in the race, and we also have run them late. So if I take last year's race here, Lucas de Grassi was in a fantastic position battling for a podium. Right at the end of the race, we were holding on, and a safety car came out. And then we couldn't use all of our attack mode time. So we lost the extra performance because we were sitting behind the safety car doing 60 kilometers per hour. That was so frustrating. So that's your negative about staying too late. At the same time, you don't want to be the first car going through that attack zone area, losing the time, but cleaning the circuit up for everybody else.
There are so many different elements, Alan, to Formula E's success. We look forward to the race. Always an absolute pleasure, Alan, it really is. Let's go over to Nikki with James Barclay.
Yeah, James Barclay, now I know it's been a difficult day for you guys and Mitch Evans, but on the other side of the garage, great for James Collado with his best qualifying in P10.
Yeah, exactly. A great job by James. We actually said today, just get a good clean lap in, because, you know, with the rookies it's tough. The margins are so small between an error that costs you a good lap. He had a 95% lap, you know, he'd probably call it, and but he, you know, 3/10 off, so it shows his potential is absolutely there. So really pleased for him.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much, and good luck for both of the drivers in the race. Not long to go, and hopefully the sun will come out. We'll see you at 3 o'clock for the race.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. The sun does look like it's coming out, so temperatures will be rising on the track and obviously in the pits. We will see you for the race live. Check local times for details, but we'll see you then.